Hello everyone, and welcome to my BDAN 515 video lab number one. Let me go ahead and share my screen to MySQL. And this might take a second because it takes a while for Zoom to load that up. And while I have that moment, I'd like to go ahead and give a disclaimer and say that MySQL is on my second monitor over there. So if you see me looking over there, that's what I'll be referencing. So here you can see that we have MySQL open. And the first thing we'll do is go ahead and create a new script. So right here we have our Sequela schema and our Sequela data. So let's go ahead and load in our Sequela schema. As you can see, it loads in all the lines of code. So let's go ahead and run that, see what that looks like. It runs all the way through. Everything looks good. So the next thing I'll do is go ahead and load in the Sequela data. So go ahead, open SQL script, see our Sequela data right there. Load that in, it loads in perfectly as well. We scroll down, we see all the data that we see here, some dates, some IDs. We can go ahead and run that and see what that looks like as well. And we see that that works perfectly. And we also were pulling that from my OneDrive that I downloaded. I should have clarified that when I first started saying it. And then for the second part of my lab, I will be using the lab 2.13 data. So in that, they wanted us to create a table for movies. So start with that. What we need to do is use a create table command. So right here, create table movie. Since we are creating our movie table, next line we can specify our parameters for that table. So to start off, our first column in our table will be ID for the movie. And we're going to go ahead and specify small n. And what that means is that our values will be limited between 0 and about 33,000. So it limits our values. And then we will further go on to add the unsigned, specify our ID. What that means is that our ID number cannot go negative. It can go in between 0 and 65,537, I believe. And since in the prompt it wanted us to create our ID up to 65,000, the unsigned is perfect for that since it won't go negative and it will go up to 65,000. The next thing we need to create for our table is the title. So title, they wanted us to create a title that was not longer than 50 characters. So for that, we'll be using the varchar, as I call it. That pronunciation might be butchered. I apologize. And we'll specify varchar at 50. And that means that the title of the movies cannot exceed 50 characters. Moving on. Next, we'll have the rating for the movies. And for this, they just want us to use the character command right here to set the character of the rating up to 4. And finally, not finally, I apologize. Another column we'll have in our table is the release date of the movie. And for that, the best way to specify that is just simply using the date. And then finally, the last column they want us to produce for the movie table is the budget. We'll go ahead and type in budget here. Oh, my caps lock was on. I apologize for that. Budget. And then we'll use decimal 8,2. And what this means is that our budget and the corresponding numbers that go with it, it is comprised of 8 significant figures, with 2 of those being decimals. So that means the max our budget for a movie could be is 999,099 cents, 8 significant figures with 2 being a decimal, as you can see right here. And so to see this table, all we have to do is come down, go ahead and close out that code. All we do to see our table now is show tables. Make sure we have a semicolon at the end, and we run our code. And we see all the other tables in Sequela, but right here where you see my cursor, you see the movie table. So thank you so much for watching my presentation. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next week's one. Thank you. I don't know if that ended it. It's so laggy. It says I'm still recording, so this